Maybe, possibly, be an end in sight to the strike at Air France.
Yeah, this after the company announced that it was officially withdrawing its plans to expand its low-cost carrier Transavia. Now, that was the main issue behind the pilot strike that's now in its 11th day, but the pilots have yet to call off their strike action. There were meetings held last night and more planned for this afternoon, but the strike officially continues with more than half of Air France's flights cancelled yet again today. Delano de Souza has the latest.
Bowing to the pressure of pilots in an effort to resume normal flight operations and end a strike which has now entered its 11th day, Air France has proposed bringing its European expansion plans to a halt. On Wednesday, the company announced it was immediately withdrawing its proposal to open hubs across European cities, a plan pilots feared would see their jobs moved abroad. However, the company says it will continue to develop Transavia in France. Meanwhile, the company's chief executive has called on pilots to get back to work.
With the withdrawal of the Transavia Europe project, there is now no reason to strike because no fear of outsourcing remains.
Nearly 16% of Air France is state-owned, and the government has been eager to see the strike, which costs up to €20 million a day, come to an end. Public opinion has been quick to slide against the pilots, with many accusing them of placing the company's future in jeopardy. A meeting was held with unions on Wednesday evening, and while they are pleased the Transavia Europe project has been scrapped, certain demands remain. Air France is expected to operate 1 in 2 flights on Thursday.
Let's take a look now and see how Air France's shares reacted to that news. They opened up over 2% in Paris, fell back slightly since then. They're still trading up over 1% though, on the prospect of that strike being resolved. That's of course a relief from investors that the cost of the strike, up to €20 million a day, could be stemmed. It does put the airline's future strategy in doubt though. Those are the opening figures in the European markets, pretty flat today. And if you're looking to learn a bit of French, you can see the French title, Marché Européen. There you go, a bit of a French lesson for you in the business news as well today. Over in Asia, the Japanese markets you can see closed up over 1.2% in trading today. Not such a positive picture across the rest of the Asian markets. The gain in Japan mainly being down to the falling value of the yen, which is helping exporters there.
Merci, Stephen. That means thank you if you didn't know. Now, here in France, there's some good news on unemployment for once.
Or chômage. We should continue this as a theme.
Yeah.
Everyone should learn French while doing this. For the first time in 9 months, in fact, the number of people registered as unemployed in France fell. The figure for August was down by over 11,000 to just over 3.4 million, and that's still 5% higher than it was this time last year. Economists are warning that the dip this time around isn't indicative of a greater trend.
In spite of everything, new highs aren't necessarily part of the long-term workforce, so for a short time it can scale back the number of job seekers, but it's not sustainable.
Quick look now at some of the day's other business stories. And fashion retailer H&M is to delay its launch in India until next year. The Swedish chain had been due to open its first Indian stores in autumn of this year, but they're now going to be delayed until 2015. Sales at H&M rose by 16% in the first 9 months of 2014. Profits rose by 20%. Samsung is to stop selling laptops in Europe. The company says it's reacting to market trends and will continue to monitor market conditions here. That's despite research from the firm IDC, which forecasts growth of more than 5% in the PC market in what are called mature markets like Europe. And staying with Samsung, South Korean firm is to beat Apple to the Chinese market with its newest smartphone. It'll start to sell the Note 4 through 3 networks this month, including the world's largest carrier, China Mobile. Its competitor, the iPhone 6, is still waiting for Chinese government approval.
Should we talk about POMs now? That's Apple for the rest of us. iPhone users, they've been dealing with a double whammy of bad news.
They have. I'm going to stop that now.
Stop it now.
It's getting old.
Okay.
2 pieces of news for iPhone users. One is that if you had been looking for the updated version of iOS, it's not available. Apple's been forced to apologise, in fact, after the updated iOS 8 was causing problems for users of the new iPhone 6 and iPhone Plus. Many of them complained they were getting no network reception. That patch was meant to fix a problem with Apple's HealthKit apps. Apple says they are working round the clock to come up with a new update on that. The other problem, slightly more entertaining, I have to say. This is the new iPhone 6 Plus, which people have discovered can actually bend slightly if you turn it with your hands. This is a video that was posted on YouTube on Tuesday of this week. It's been seen over 16 million times since then. People curious to find out how much their iPhone can actually bend. Apple has yet to respond to this problem, but tech experts say that it could actually be more than just a little design flaw.
The problems with this are there could be issues with the display, there could be issues with the components getting messed up. So far, it seems like the people who've had their phone bend while having it in their pocket are actually still able to use it. But we'll have to see how big of an issue this actually becomes.
Problems with your bendy iPhone. Don't sit on it, Stephen. He said he puts it in his back pocket usually. Now, we're going to have a look at the international newspapers' flows here. A lot of focus today on that UN Security Council stamping out, or trying to stamp anyway, the flow of foreign fighters to the Middle East flow.
That's right. Yesterday, the UN Security Council adopted a